Good morning, brother.
Good morning.
How are you doing on this fine day?
Really good, beautiful morning out, man. Fall morning. Still a couple hot days coming up. Hopefully it'll cool down a little bit. We'll get some of that nice fall weather we had a few weeks ago.
It's been really nice at nighttime. I've been sleeping.
It's been cooling down a little bit. Windows open.
Yeah, so nice. I even put a blanket on last night. That's
really?
pretty
Wow.
rare, to be honest. But the wind was blowing right in through my screen door.
Yeah,
and
it was a little bit last night.
Yeah, and it blows right up like straight to where my screen is. I got a big sliding door right by my bed, so it was pretty nice.
We get through summer. It's so hot here. It always is a welcome change when it starts to cool down a little bit, you know. But we have a few more hot days ahead, and I think after that we'll hopefully start seeing a little bit of cooling weather.
Yeah, I'm ready for some rain, you know. But
we need it. We need it. We'll get it. You know, let that grass come up.
Yep.
For sure.
I got hungry sheep.
Yes.
And my chickens like to eat grass too. My chickens actually, they like to peck at that grass. It helps with egg development
Have you
and everything.
seen those big barns that are mobile, where they do like free range chickens basically in these big barns?
No.
And they move the barns. You know, they pick the barns up and they move them so all the chickens stay in the barn, but they just get a fresh lot of grass.
No, but when I was in Belize, this gentleman I met he kind of became our tour guide. We actually picked him up hitchhiking, and he was a really cool guy. And we went actually stayed the night at his family's place but his uncle had built this traveling chicken coop, and it was all out of PVC pipe, all connected with T's and elbows. And so it was just this frame built with PVC, and then he had PVC pipes on the ground with larger PVC over it. So it became like its wheels or whatnot. A roller. And so he had this, and then he had chicken wire around it. He had all these chickens, and then he would roll it back and forth and around like that.
It's pretty cool.
So I've seen the concept
Simple
for
idea,
sure.
but it's pretty neat, you know.
I saw this house the other day. I might look for the video if we get a chance, but it was a house, basically like a barn style house. And it slid, like the whole frame of the house actually slid out, and then it was like a greenhouse. And then so you were just in full sun. And then if you wanted, that greenhouse frame slid into the other barn to where you could just be open air, and your house is basically, and he was just out in the nature. It was so cool. Yeah, it was really, really cool.
Cool stuff, you know.
Yeah. So anyways, welcome to Patriot State of Mind on Mountaintop Media. We got the controversial Carlos here today.
I'm about to say some people don't
actually
like.
Not even. Actually, you've been laying pretty low.
Pretty calm as of late.
So anyways, it's a pleasure to have you here today.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And I miss you, brother.
Yeah, I miss you too. I'm glad we're here.
So today, I just wanted to talk about the artificial intelligence, robots, how the war is just changing, and the way people are fighting. I've been seeing all these videos and this different artificial intelligent, automated tanks and swarms of drones. You know, and so it's just, we're getting in some interesting times right now, just how warfare is fought. So I just wanted to share some of that stuff. It's been an interest of mine. I've been kind of digging in there a little bit.
Interesting. The military's always sort of been a laboratory for what's to come for the civilian population, right? So they try it out in the military first and see if it works, and they start to hand that down to other aspects of life, you know, to regular people. You know, it's pretty interesting. So just before we get into this real quick, I was in San Francisco a few weeks ago for the first time in like over 4 years, since before COVID. And I was actually impressed that they've cleaned that city up a lot. Let me tell you that. Oh, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. You know,
that's good to know.
It was not what I expected. It was not the San Francisco I saw right before COVID. I mean, where it was already downgraded. They've cleaned it up, and it's actually beautiful. So I was actually proud of that. But we're walking around, and I see this car go by, and I'm like,
nobody driving.
There's nobody driving that car. And I thought it was just, man, you know, maybe I had too many beers with lunch or something, you know, and keep walking. I see another one. There it goes, you know. And there are these driverless cars. They have cameras spinning, you know, all over the place. And
were they taxis?
They were basically, like a rideshare Uber type of, that's what they were. You know, but it was kind of cool, actually. You know, I'm like, man, I think I just stepped into the future. You know, I told my wife, I said, man, I think I just, you know, maybe took a nap and woke up 30 years later, because I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Have you seen that video where they have the big parking lot where all the driverless taxis are, and they all at 4 a.m. they start like going out, and they're all confused, right? Because they're all driverless, and they honk at each other and stuff.
Really?
And all these people, because I'm not exactly sure. I think it might have been New York or something. I can get that wrong, but they live in these stacked big apartments or studios or whatever you want to call them. These big, But the video was from like maybe the 7th or 8th floor or something like that, and they're videoing all these confused driverless automatic artificial intelligence cars, and because they're all crammed in this little parking lot, and they're all trying to get out. They're like honking at each other, and they were, I guess, for like a half hour, this process goes where they're all fighting to get out of the parking lot.
They're built to interact with people who are driving cars with human drivers, so it'd be interesting to see how they interact with each other. If you just had thousands of driverless cars, all over the city.
Yeah. So one of the scariest aspects of this, this progression of artificial intelligence and robots and all this stuff is that a lot of jobs are going to be gone, and I think that people got to start preparing for that because technology is advancing so fast. It's like it starts with going to the store and checking yourself out automatically. Then next thing you know, you put it in the cart. It automatically has sensors and knows everything you have, and you just, you just walk right out of the store and it charges your chip or whatever. You know what I mean? And then
it's happening in every industry, right? I mean, have you been in a fast food joint lately? I know you don't eat that crap.
No.
I'm not proud of it, but my son and I were coming back from a rodeo and we stopped at a Burger King. We were hungry, hadn't eaten all day. And we walk in, and I'm going, there's nobody in here, There's these kiosks, So my son says, I think we need to use a kiosk, So I'm like, okay. So sure enough, the lady comes out and says, yeah, you need to use a kiosk, And then she goes back in the back, probably cooking. We go through this, and I'm thinking, man, this is what happens when you want to raise minimum wage to $15, $20 an hour, for fast food workers. And I'm not saying that they don't deserve it as a human worker. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not degrading what they do, for work. But we knew as business owners, we know that if that happens, hey, we're going to automate things. It might cost us more up front in the interim, but over time, it's going to save you a ton of money in labor just by having these kiosks, that order for you, So it's pretty interesting that you say that, it is going to affect jobs. Eventually it'll be a dehumanized society where everything's run by AI.
Well, they've got robots now that can basically plant everything in it for in large scale agriculture stuff. Sure. I mean, they can plant, they can harvest, automated watering with sensors. Sure. I mean, every aspect of almost everything that we do in life as far as any labor-based type job, whether it's factory or agriculture or fast food, restaurant industry or whatever. Yeah, it's.
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, and we'll talk about this and get into it. I think if it assists us and makes things easier and more efficient, and we're able to farm more, maybe at a lower price, great. But at some point, we're going to have to face the issue of employment, right? And what that does to, or unemployment, I should say, and how that affects the workforce.
Well, like Noah Harari said, what do we do with all these useless people?
Yeah, well, that's the part we need to face, absolutely.
Yeah, they're like drugs and video games is what he said.
Yeah.
Elon Musk actually said something very similar to that too, which I know a lot of people like him, don't like him, whatever, but he kind of said like, what are we going to do what is your average person going to do when their job's gone and everything's automated? I mean, do they create some kind of welfare state for the peasants where everyone just gets a little bit of some free food and some, I mean, I don't know how it is all going to go down. Sure. I try to rebel against the system. I try to use a human when I check out. Yeah. I don't use the map quest. I try to actually use my brain to figure out where I'm going. And if I get it wrong, then I look at the map and try to redirect myself. And I'm trying to rebel against the system the best I can, but I'm still.
I get it, and it's an interesting deal. So a couple weeks ago, we're putting together our promotion for this bull riding that we're doing at the house. By the way, it's October 12th. So if anybody wants to come out to that, it's going to be a heck of an event. So I'm putting together a flyer, and I'm using these older programs that I use. I'm like, they look good, but it's not really what I'm looking for.
AI art.
So I go to ChatGPT and I said, hey, make me a flyer for this event. And it puts together this beautiful flyer that, you know, before I would have had to go to somebody, some designer, artistic designer, who was going to charge me $200 or $300 to design it, right? And I'm like, this thing just spit out the coolest flyer in 20 seconds, and it cost me nothing, you know? So I'm guilty as charged, you know?
Hey.
But it's interesting, right, how that works. So what's that going to happen to these designers? 'Cause, I mean, that spit out a beautiful flyer. I'm like, God, I couldn't design this, you know?
Yeah. You know, a few people have told me how they've used that chatbot GTP or GPT. Yeah. And they've like write me an article about this, or write me a summary of this, or whatever it was. And I guess it did a pretty freaking good job.
I needed a waiver of liability the other day for a rodeo that we did. And the state of California, when we go to fairgrounds, requires us to have, you know, an extra layer of protection there, you know, on top of insurance. And my insurance guy and the guy at the state were sort of going back and forth. They couldn't come up with a good waiver. I said, look, let me try something. I put in a chat GPT. I said, give him just a few little bullet point details. I need a waiver for this event. 20 seconds. It spits out this perfect contract. I send it up to the state. They go, that's perfect. You know, that's what we needed.
So I got a short story I want to tell you, because I actually think that Skynet is already kind of integrated into our system. And I'll tell you why. And this really freaked me out. It really pissed me off and freaked me out. But about a month ago, we were sitting there, and I buy domains. I have a lot. I have 60 or 70 domains. I buy domains. I sell them if I think of a good one. And then if I know somebody that wants to start a business, I have the perfect. I come up with some really good domains. I'll just be driving it. I'll be like, oh, that's great. A lot of times they're taken. I've seen some sell for 50 or with the sticker price of up to maybe 200,000. Well, I was sitting there, and I watched this video of this guy who was going around the mall with it was like just a TV screen kind of robot of this anime. He had an anime girlfriend, right? And somebody told me they thought that this was actually fake, but I truly believe this guy was kooky enough. He was rolling around. He had like the wheel shoes, you know, and he was cruising around with his girlfriend. Okay, and he's like kissing her. He was eating with her and fake feeding her. And this guy's filming this guy.
Make the stuff up,
no,
man.
bro. And so this guy's taking his girlfriend out to the mall, who's a cartoon character robot, right? Artificial intelligent robot that, you know, interacted with them, right? And so I was sitting there going like, all right, man. I was like, I'm going to look up AIgirlfriend.com, right? I looked up AIgirlfriend.com. Boom. It was for sale for 200,000 or something like that, right? And I was like, okay, I'm on to something right now, right? Then I looked up girlfriend.ai, right? It was like $500,000. Okay, so I kept looking up different ones, right? So that day I looked up, we saw up to $500,000. In fact, my friend came up with one that was along those lines, AI partner or partner.ai or something like that. Cause I was like, there's going to be some weirdos. I just thought I'd buy it maybe 5-10 years down the road. Someone would buy it for a bunch of money. Right. And just as an investment. And, the next morning, my son, Cole, he's 6 years old. The next morning, my son wakes up, and keep in mind, we don't have a TV. We don't have video games. My son wakes up and he goes, Dad, I had this dream. He goes, I had this dream that I was playing this video game. He goes, but the video game was AI. Oh, wow. And I'm like, son, I want to hear your dream, but hold on. Yeah. So I went to videogame.ai.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, that's going to be a freaking $1 million freaking, right? So when you go to GoDaddy, if anybody's bought, okay.
Yeah, it tells you.
Dude, it tells you, it goes, this is available. Sure. Buy it now. Okay. Yeah. Or it says, this is taken. We can try to
get it for this
get it for you. Or it will say, this domain is for sale.
Sure.
But basically there's three options. One's going to tell you that it's taken for $119.95. We can see if they want to sell it.
Sure.
Or it will say this domain is taken and you can buy it for $5,000 or make an offer or something, whatever it is. Or it's available and it says buy it now and you can get extra protection or this and that, right? So I was like, I couldn't believe it was available. I was like, so I go to buy it. Oh yeah, and keep in mind the day before when I was talking to Sean, the guy who co-works with me, I was like, I think that AI is buying a bunch of these domains up. And I told him that. I swear on everything. And this is the next morning. So I go to buy it, and I got it in the cart. This is available, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is by far the best domain I got, most valuable.
Sure.
And I hit to buy, and the phone glitches out.
Really?
It glitches out, and then it says your cart is empty.
Oh no.
Okay. Then I go and pull it up again, and it says this domain is not available.
Whoa.
13 minutes later.
So AI's beating you to it.
13 minutes later. No, they straight stole it from me.
Yeah.
I mean, I without a hesitation, I was like, oh my God, I got to buy, boom, boom, boom. I mean, it takes me like 30 seconds to buy a domain. I know I've done it so many times, probably a couple hundred times I bought domains.
Yeah.
So I type it back in later. I've actually got the screenshots. So then it says right away, it goes, your cart's empty. I type it back in, try to buy it, and it goes, this domain is unavailable. That's all it said.
Yeah.
It didn't. Then 13 minutes later, it goes, this domain is taken, but we can see if they want to sell it for $119.95. So it's a different, never seen the screen where it just says this is unavailable.
Sure.
The next day, there was AI freaking whole website with AI artwork and everything, bro.
Really?
Like that.
Wow.
And I was so ticked off because I got robbed, but then I was like, Skynet's on the loose or whatever. I mean, AI was monitoring. It was like too good of an idea to let a peasant like me have
what they're doing is they're taking good ideas from smart humans.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, good idea. Boom.
Because AI cannot create.
Yeah.
They can only.
Exactly.
We are the creators of ideas. But they can take all of those ideas and package it up.
Yep.
But they don't come up with their own ideas.
Sure.
That's not organic. They can't do it. Yeah. Anyways, man, I don't expect anyone to believe it, but it kind of got brought up, and anybody who knows me knows I wouldn't make a story up like that.
Not at all.
I was pissed for a whole day. That night when I went to bed, I was laying in bed just like.
So how do you compete, right? So then what happens is you're sitting having a conversation with somebody about a business idea or whatever, as we often have, and your phone's listening, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sweet, man.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I'm ahead of you, and while you're sitting there discussing it, they're already producing it.
Well, I think that most people have gotten to the point where they've talked about, I've talked to a lot of people about this. So I think at least half the people that are going to listen to this have had something where it was something they were talking about and then an ad pops up.
Sure.
And this is not conspiracy.
That happens all the time.
If you go into your apps, you can look at it. Says
about washing machines. And
we listen. Then it used to be to where if you were searching for something and typing it in, and then it would pop up and you go like, oh man, that was weird at the time for me. And then next thing you know, so one day me and my wife were talking about something and boom, it started popping up on the computers and our phones and stuff. And I was like, we're deleting every app. And
it's crazy. No, talking about the laundry room, right? Next thing you know, you're getting washing machines and dryers and whatever, It's really crazy. But
yeah, so do they have an AI filtration system or where it goes through all these things and like it knows how to? Because
I think it's Google, yeah. They listen and they go, huh? I mean, because think about it, there's nothing you can search that hasn't already been searched or written about, right? And this is crazy to me. This is what I always think about. It blows my mind. And I know the younger generation's kind of grown up with this stuff. We sort of inherited this when maybe in our 20s, this stuff started to come out, right? The internet started to become very popular with phones and everything else. And I think about how I can search any subject, anything, and there's already an article written about it. Somebody's written either by a human or an AI article, right? So there's nothing out there that you can't look up that's whatever, What
if the internet was released to the peasants as a data mining operation from the get-go to feed the AI system?
Well, we've known for years that eventually things would be automated, right? Everything would be automated.
Have you seen the circuit board or computer chip out of an iPhone that gets zoomed in on?
No.
Can you see if you can find that, Christian? Just look up Apple microchip zoomed in on or something, electron microscopy. Anyways, it's pretty interesting. It's like a city within a city within a city. And the technology is so far out. I mean, it's so crazy. Really? It's just, Yeah, it's pretty wild. We'll have him pull it up here, and you'll get to see it.
This is what John does at 3 a.m.
Sometimes I wake up at like 12:30 or 1 o'clock, unfortunately. This is
Look at that.
if you're listening, you need to, and not watching this. Oh, just wait, dude. Technology is so advanced that yeah, bro, this is on a micro scale, right? And
Well, it was 0.6 millimeters.
yeah,
How long ago? That's got to be smaller than a cell. I mean, geez.
Yeah. So, anyways, there goes back.
Crazy.
Zooming into an iPhone CPU silicon die using electron microscope. Boom, there it is.